Even though Ultimate Valby is coming out very shortly, and regular Valby is still incredibly valuable to have a part of your Descendants list, and you can make her incredibly useful with absolutely zero investment besides leveling her up to level 40. There's going to be no activators, no catalysts in this build, and you can still put out really good damage and a really good range and have basically constant uptime on all of your abilities. This build is going to be perfect if you guys are trying to take advantage of the last minute we have on the notorious Outpost farm, or any sort of like void shard farming and any other things that Valby is really good at. If you need to spawn kill some trash enemies, she is going to be your best bet, and this is going to be the build centered around doing so. Once Ultimate Valby is out, then I will do a full in-depth maxing out Valby build, but for right now, I really do recommend putting together this setup. I think it's going to be your best bet with absolutely zero investment. So let's see exactly how I put this build together. So Valby has 4 skills: Bubble Bullet, Plop Plop, Cleanup, and Laundry Bomb. The main ones we are going to be focusing on are Cleanup, Plop Plop, and Bubble Bullet. The main of those 3 is going to be Cleanup. This is how you guys are going to be clearing pretty much everything, especially if you're doing the Outpost farms while you still are able to. You're going to be essentially trying to stay in this state all the time, keeping a constant slick of water on the ground, and you're just going to be going in a very quick circle when you have this active. So we are going to be focusing into non-attribute and dimension. So when we get to our reactor a little bit later on, that's going to be the areas you focus on. So this is gonna help you move quicker. You can't shoot or anything while you're in this, but you're not gonna need to. You just keep this down, keep going in a circle, and everything's gonna die the moment it spawns. Now, her passive does decrease her MP cost while she's on her water. This is gonna get changed with our Transcendent mod once we get to that here in just a moment. But yeah, so essentially the loop with this is gonna be use your cleanups, do a whole loops or wherever you need to have water down, and then throw your Bubble Bullet to add some extra water coverage. These can stack on top of each other. If you need to cover a huge area and these 2 just happen to be on cooldown somehow, you can use Plop Plop, but this one doesn't do all that much damage. It also takes a long time for its animation. So normally Cleanup and Bubble Bullet are the main 2 that I try to focus on, just supplementing it with Plop Plop if I need to. So the reason I said her passive is going to change is because we're going to be using the Transcendent mod Supply Moisture. This is arguably her best Transcendent mod by far. It's going to increase your skill critical hit rates, your skill durations, and your firearm attribute trigger rates, which is really nice. This is also going to increase your firearm critical hit rates while you're standing on water. So if you guys are spec'd into any sort of crit, so like in my case, the Thunder Cage goes from like just shy of 40% up to like 75%, somewhere in there. And so it's gonna be really helpful if you need to shoot anything with your gun, like a boss to get him immune, whatever. This is definitely really good. Also, I upgraded a little bit to free up some space. This only cost about $1 mil, maybe a hair over $1 mil in terms of gold to get it to this point. So still not even that much of an investment on the Transcendent upgrade portion. From there, I just like long distance maneuvering. You can use whatever grapple you want or whatever sub skill. Completely up to you. I'm just a long distance guy personally. Now for the actual mods, we are going to be using non-attribute specialist to increase our damage. That way we just guarantee kill everything in like 1 to 2 ticks from our water. This is going to be a much bigger boost than any sort of like the basic blue skill power modifiers. These are going to be doing more damage, so focus on the non-attributes here. And then from there, the main areas we're going to want to be focusing on are cooldown, duration, and also our range. The bigger range means you have to do less laps to cover the whole area of wherever you need to kill the enemies from spawning. Also, the enemies spawn in a slight variance. They're going to be a couple feet back and forth, so it does help to have the range, which we will also be going into with our reactor once we get to that. But from there, we just are going to be using the basic blue mods, maxing out skill expansion for 92% extra range, skill extension for the 36% extra duration, nimble fingers for the 25% skill cooldown, and then finally I run time distribution for a little bit more cooldown, and also it gives us a little bit of HP in the process for a pretty cheap mod of 10. That way we get pretty decent survivability. Currently with my external components, I'm at about 5,000 HP and about 10,000 or so defense, We're doing pretty low tier stuff with this build, so you don't need that crazy of defenses or HP. So this gets the job done. You're going to be able to survive quite a few hits from the bosses, even just at like the 5k HP. So that's why I find time distribution to be a pretty good option. With this setup, also my reactor is playing a slight role here, but on actually clean up our main skill, we have a 13-second cooldown per stack, and it's going to last just under 7 seconds. The actual water fields are going to be 20.5 seconds, which is nice, and this can be much better if you guys have a better reactor than I do. So these get the job done pretty well, in my opinion, and I really do like this mod setup. Once again, no capacity ups, no crystallization catalysts, just these mods, and being level 40, and I'm mastery rank 17, so not even fully maxed in terms of max capacity, and you will be perfectly fine with this setup. For our reactor, you're going to want one specifically for non-attribute dimension for your skill power boost ratios. That is a must. From there, the optimization, just whatever gun you will use the most. For me, that is the Thunder Cage. Also, you move much quicker when you have like an SMG or handgun on you. So that's why Thunder Cage is also good in that regards. Much faster movement speed. For the substats, you're going to want range, and then as my perfect other one would be cooldown. I have them kind of split up. This one's duration and cooldown, so this is really good for total uptime. But I do lose a little bit of range, which I just want to focus on hitting everything that I possibly can. But in a perfect world, I would have range and cooldown in the same substats. So if you're looking for a good reactor, try to farm that one. For external components, I just have the Annihilation set on because it's basically what I run on all of my characters, because it's just pretty decent HP, pretty decent defense. On the auxiliary power, I have HP substat and also defense as the main stat. On the sensor, defense, and this one has MP, so I could get a little bit better resistances or something on here, or change it out completely. You don't need the 4-piece set just because we're using skill stuff. You can try to fit in the battle aesthetics 2-piece set, which is skill critical hit rate, which would be really good for us. So like this one, for example, is really high defense as its base, and you can get HP as a secondary. I would just need to probably farm out a better second piece, probably the processor, because this is defense. These two are max shields as the two, but if you want to run max shield, it's not really going to make a huge difference in your survivability, but that's currently what I am running in that. Annihilation memory is max HP, and then I just have some proficiency upgrades because normally I'm using her for farming, for gold, or leveling up some weapons. And then on the processor, just more HP and various resistances are going to be your best bet. But once again, feel free to swap in some battle aesthetics 2-piece sets if you feel the need to. The weapons with this build really don't matter. I just have the Thunder Cage to match my reactor. The actual mods on here is essentially the Thunder Cage build that I put out the other week, except for I swapped out one of the weak point mods for just Sweeping Squad for a little bit more firearm attack, just because I'm using it for mobbing at the moment. So that ends up working pretty well. And then for any sort of like more single target scenario, if I don't feel like using the Thunder Cage, I'm just using the Enduring Legacy build that I put out 2 days ago. So if you're interested in either of those, make sure you go check those out on the channel. They're working incredibly well. I absolutely love the Enduring Legacy. The actual gameplay loop of this is very, very simple. Just use your third ability, go around all the areas where everybody is spawning. Just keep doing your loops, keep just maxing out your coverage with your water, and then maybe in between you can throw your first ability down and just get some extra coverage. And it also gives you a couple extra seconds while you're casting that for a little bit more cooldown to have happened on your third ability. That way, no matter what, you're like always ready to go. There's always a source of water from each skill on the ground dealing some sort of damage. You can see how fast it's ticking and for how much it's ticking here. If I stop, the base hits are just about 60,000. Our crits are about 76,000, 77,000, right around there. So it is doing really good damage. If these are just base trash enemies, which is the whole point of this build, to be killing, you're going to be 1-tapping them, 2-tapping them at the very least. So it works out incredibly well. You're always going to have ability uptime, and as you're killing them, you're going to be getting energy, so you don't have to worry about your energy going down. ends up working out incredibly well. Overall, I'm super impressed with how strong Valby is without any sort of investment. The resources in this game are very valuable, so having a Descendant that can do basically everything you need it to without using any sort of activators or catalysts is so valuable in my opinion. So I really do recommend you guys give this a go if you're looking for any low tier trash quick farming. If you did enjoy the build video, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. Also consider subscribing for more First Descendant content. Also, I really appreciate everybody stopping by over on the stream. I've been streaming almost every single morning, grinding out portions of this game, and it's been nice talking to some of you guys over there. Also, I have Ultimate Bunny finishing tonight, so that's going to be my next focus. I'm going to build her slightly different than I've seen a lot of people building her, just because I want to play into her strengths and the core aspects of Bunny a little bit more than I've seen other people. So hopefully you guys enjoy that here within the next few days. But anyways, thank you for watching this far. I hope you did enjoy the video. But anyways, I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.